So, ladies and gentlemen, about 3 months ago, we find out that tariffs are coming for South Africa. Donald Trump makes it very clear that 30% tariffs is what South Africa will be paying should South Africa not come to America with a deal. Donald Trump also makes it clear to the South African government, because we now know, thanks to AfriForum going to the US and the US informing AfriForum, that unless South Africa classify farm attacks and murders as priority crimes, publicly condemns the kill the boer, kill the farmer song, ensure no land expropriation without compensation, and exempt American institutions from race based legislation, there will be no negotiations between the ANC and the South African government on tariffs. The ANC, of course, comes back and they pretend like they had a very, very good visit with the Americans. Negotiations are now open. Everything's going to be happening, and it's going to be going swimmingly. Of course, very quickly after that, Razul, the ambassador, or before that, actually, the ambassador of South Africa to America, is chased out of America by Senator Marco Rubio, or actually at this point, Secretary Marco Rubio, declaring him persona non grata. This after the ambassador went on a live stream and called Trump a white supremacist racist, which is not something an ambassador of a country should ever do. The ambassador doesn't speak for himself. He speaks for the country. He represents the country. This is not the official stance of the South African people. Cannot be, right? But okay, so he's chased out. We don't have an ambassador, therefore we have no official trade relations or relationship with the United States. The United States continuously asks the South African government to send a replacement. The South African government, as of making this video, has yet to respond. Then we have the meetings. We're told the meetings went absolutely swimmingly. Of course, we saw the meetings and it did not go swimmingly. But then we're told that now we're in full swing. We're negotiating. Months later, literally a few weeks ago, we find out that there is no meeting. There's no negotiations. The man that was appointed as the special envoy to America has been declined access to America and has never even been there. The president says that the special envoy to America doesn't need to be in America to be the special envoy to America. That makes sense, I guess, to some extent. But ultimately, there are no talks. The ANC has done nothing, much like they do in all other facets of the country. They just wait until number 99 and they hope that they can bank on their legacy. The legacy of a liberation movement that fought so hard against the evils of apartheid, and that the world should forgive them for all of the other blunders that they make. Of course, this is following the NEC meeting. I think after the NEC meeting, the ANC finally woke up and realized, oh, poop. Well, that's not great. Things might not be looking as good as we originally thought. Maybe the economic situation is finally dawning on the ANC. We don't have money. We have a debt to GDP ratio of 76%. We spend 1.2 billion rand a day paying off, just servicing the debt, not even paying it off, excuse me. We're nowhere close to paying off our debt. We have an economy that isn't growing. In fact, it is in decline. We have a job market that is in decline. We have 26 million people on government benefits, over 1.3 million people on unofficial government benefits, in other words, working for the government on the benefits of the taxpayers, not doing much. We have about 100 entrepreneurs stealing over 1 trillion rand in BE finances. We have more companies now. There's a whole story that I wanted to cover, but ultimately decided not to, of the independent or fixed investment fund that is government owned that just wasted 800 and something million rand on hospital oxygen facilities that was never built, right? Just the money was just stolen. So South Africa as a country is just run into the ground. And I think the NEC meeting highlighted this. People at the NEC told Ramaphosa, what are you doing, right? We cannot afford to lose America. America is the second largest trading partner of South Africa. But America is the largest consumer market in the world. It's also interesting to note that America is one of the few countries with which South Africa actually has a trade surplus. In other words, we export more to America than what we import from America. This is good because it means this is money coming into South Africa, with all of our other partners, like China, for example, yes, we export a lot to China, but we import way more. So China makes a hell of a lot more money from us than what we make from them. Losing America is a massive blow. And we just saw with one South African company losing 750 million rand overnight due to tariffs. A South African company that builds automated assembly lines and develops production software for BMW, Volkswagen, and Mercedes-Benz lost contracts worth 750 million rand as a result of new trade tariffs, as reported by the Daily Investor. About 15% of our business is local and 50% is exported to America. We are now 30% more expensive. This crushes our competitiveness. Now, that means, right, if this is what's happening to these companies, this also means that Mercedes, BMW, all of the factories that are manufacturing cars here in South Africa might soon decide not to do that anymore. They might soon decide to move their companies elsewhere because at 30%, there is just no point. You're already dealing with a country that makes trading and doing business here very, very difficult as a result of government overreach. Now you also have 30% tariffs. You have a rand that's struggling. You have electricity that is ridiculously expensive and not abundant. You have a labor force that is largely uneducated. Why would you want to operate in this country when you can move to India or literally any other country and at least get a much better deal? But don't worry, Ramaphosa now says in the coming months, we will be scaling up our trade missions into new markets in Africa and beyond. The whole of Africa and the economy of the whole of Africa doesn't even equal that of California. You put all of the GDP of African nations together, Africa is a broken state. Pretty much all of the countries in Africa is broke or on their way to being broke or destitute. There is no way that trading with African nations saves South Africa. In fact, it might just hurt. We are the largest economy in Africa, and we're pretty crap, right? So there's no way that changing or moving goods to America or moving goods to Africa saves us. Not to mention the fact that it's not that simple to just move your trade to another country. You're talking about a massive operation. You're talking about shipping lanes, shipping contracts, harbor contracts, docking contracts, warehousing contracts. All of these things are on long-term contracts, right? You have, as a company that exports, a contract with a company that imports and ships to America. You have a contract with this company for 2 years. These are long-term contracts. They don't sign just 1 or 2 years because usually they have to build an entire set of infrastructures to house the goods that you send and receive, right? So when that goes, the contract's still active. That company isn't going to suddenly turn around and say, well, just because the Americans don't want your goods, you'll pay us, right? Because that's the deal. That's just how it works. We're not going to give this away because what are we going to do? We're going to end up just holding a bunch of research or facilities here that no one is using? No, you'll keep paying. So a lot of companies might just decide to pack up and go just as a result of this, right? But then the government will also boost a so-called National Exporter Development Program, which aims to grow the pool of export-ready companies. For what? Most of the countries that want goods from South Africa already take goods from South Africa. It's not like they're standing in line trying to get more goods from South Africa. Ramaphosa says Pretoria has been engaging with the US to enhance mutually beneficial trade and investment relations. All channels of communication remain open to engage with the US. South Africa's biggest farm lobby warned that tariffs would immediately hit the 35 billion rand citrus industry because the measures coincide with the current picking season. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the fact is that the ANC will never reach an accord with the Americans, and the reason they will never reach an accord with the Americans is because the ANC is incapable of giving them the one thing that they ask for. The ANC cannot disavow kill the boer, kill the farmer, because there are significant factions within the ANC that wants to indeed kill the boer, kill the farmer. They'll leave. They'll join the EFF if the ANC were to disavow. The ANC cannot let go of BE because there are significant people with financial interests that need BE to stay alive. The ANC remove that, They lose those people and they will go to the MK or to the EFF and they'll take their supporters with them. The ANC could potentially make some headway and some movement in terms of prioritizing farm attacks. That's one thing that the ANC could probably do. But the fact that they haven't suggests to me that there might actually be significant people in the ANC that might be behind some of these farm attacks, or at least like that the farm attacks are happening, and therefore really don't want to cause too much of a stir there and have their people be arrested or people that they like the jobs of. Fundamentally, the ANC is taking South Africa down with it, and there's nothing we can do. Despite everything that the president is saying, all of the pretend, none of that will work. We're in trouble. We're in serious trouble. And we're a country that can't afford that trouble. Thanks to the mismanagement of this economy for the last 30 years, South Africa is at its wit's end. There is no movement room. There's no headroom. There's nothing we can fall back on. It's not like we can still go more into debt. We're already up to our eyeballs in debt. What happens next? That's anyone's guess. The truth is, I don't know. But I will keep you guys abreast. What you can do, if you like the content that I make, and if you think that more people should see it, please consider hitting that like button, hitting that subscribe button, and leaving a comment, because it really, truly does help. Then, if you want to support this channel a little bit more personally, I wouldn't say no to your financial support. Just hit the link in the description down below, or the join button right below this video. As always, be good to each other, be kind to each other, and I will see all of you in the next one. Peace.